It was just about a school reunion, or so I thought. I'm a 33 years old man. My wife is a 31 years old woman. She has a school reunion in 2 days' time. We have obviously known about it for a few months. We were going to drive back to her hometown with our 3 kids, an 8-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl, and a 3-year-old boy. We were going to stay with her mother for the weekend and go to the reunion. This was the plan for months, but 2 days ago, she suggested that it would be a good time to strip the wallpaper from the lounge and paint the walls. This is something that needs to happen. It would be a lot easier without my 3-year-old boy underfoot, keeping him away from the paint and so on. I said that I have been looking forward to her reunion, to meet people she went to school with and so on, but she has been trying to discourage me. Finally, I decided to pretend to be upset that she is embarrassed of me. Yes, a bit immature and manipulative, but I figured it would be an easy way to get her to drop it. Instead, she did not try to reassure me. She has not said it, but it actually feels like she is embarrassed of me. She has told me that she is going to get a ride with a friend to the reunion. She will take the kids as planned to her mother's for the weekend and will call me. I have tried to push back on this, but she will not budge. So it looks like I am painting the lounge. Edit. Not sure if anyone will see this. So I went to work as planned and came home after work. My wife and kids are gone, as was also planned. No, she has not left me. She has packed 2 days' worth of clothes for her and the kids, and that is about it. I have been busy stripping wallpaper. I think this is going to be a much bigger job than I realized. It is 1:40 in the morning, and I am finishing for the night. I have still got more wallpaper to strip. It has been 7 hours of stripping so far. I have tomorrow to paint and maybe a bit on Sunday before I drive up to pick her up from her mother's. Update 1. So I have made the drive up to my mother-in-law's and picked up my wife and kids. I am just on my mother-in-law's couch while they are getting ready to leave, so I thought I would post an update. So I guess the main thing is, I know why my wife did not want me here. When I arrived, my mother-in-law greeted me. She asked to talk. She told me not to tell my wife she said anything, but my wife had a cancer scare. That is why she was up here. My wife had cancer before I met her. They actually removed half of her nipple, which she is very self-conscious about. When I saw my wife, she burst into tears and hugged me. She did not tell me anything about her cancer, and I did not ask. I will let her bring it up to me. Edit. We are home, and I couldn't keep this to myself, so I have just spoken to my wife and said her mother told me. She asked me about what? I said about the cancer. My wife has no idea what her mother was talking about. She said she does not have cancer and has not had a cancer scare at all. Now I don't know what the fuck is going on. Update 2. Well, I'm not even sure how to begin this update. I have gone back and forth on whether or not to write this at all, but I figure since I have already shared the rest, I may as well follow through. So, shortly after I got back from picking my wife and the kids up from her mother's place, I noticed she had been really quiet, withdrawn. I gave her space. I figured maybe she was embarrassed or just didn't want to talk after the whole cancer scare thing turned out to be a complete fabrication by her mother. But things were off, really off. I know it's going to sound bad, but I did something I never thought I would do. I checked her laptop while she was in the shower. I had this awful gut feeling that something more was going on, and sure enough, there it was. Emails. Dozens of them. She had not gone to the reunion just to catch up with old friends. She went there to see an old high school flame, a guy she had apparently been messaging on and off for months. They reconnected on Facebook, and it escalated fast. The emails I read, I felt physically ill. They were not just flirty or inappropriate. They were blatantly about meeting up, about sneaking away from the reunion, about how he still made her feel like a teenager again. And the worst part? She brought our kids with her to meet this guy. That just broke something in me. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the recklessness. She drove to see him in a rental car with our kids in the back seat. I don't know this guy. She doesn't even really know him anymore. It's been over a decade since school, and she let him meet our kids. What if something had happened? What if he wasn't who he claimed to be? When I confronted her, at first she tried to deny it, then minimized it, claimed nothing happened, that all she did was meet him, that they just talked, and that it didn't mean anything. Eventually, after pressing her for what felt like hours, she admitted to giving him a blowjob in the car while the kids were inside a nearby fast food restaurant with the guy's cousin or brother. She was vague about who it was. She said she didn't sleep with him, like that made it any better. I was in disbelief. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something through the wall, but all I could do was sit there, silent. She tried to cry, said she felt ashamed, said it was a mistake. I didn't want to hear it. I walked out of the room, told her I needed space. And then something even more insane happened. Her mother showed up. Apparently, she had tried to call while we were talking, and my wife didn't answer. So she called the police to do a wellness check. Yeah, I kid you not. I opened the door, and 2 cops were standing there. I hadn't even raised my voice, hadn't touched her. But she had told her mother God knows what before all this. I'm guessing my mother-in-law thought I had hit her. She's always hated me. I used to think it was just a cold relationship, but now I think she truly believes I'm some sort of monster. I wouldn't be surprised if she thought I gave my stepdaughter a black eye once, when my wife had claimed she ran into a table. And now that I think about it, there was a story early in our relationship about my wife dropping our baby getting out of the shower, but there was a hand-shaped bruise on the kid's cheek. I didn't want to believe it back then, but now I don't know what to believe anymore. Anyway, the cops were decent. My wife spoke to them calmly, explained everything, or maybe just enough, and they left, looking somewhere between bored and disturbed. Later that night, I made her call her mother in front of me. I wanted to hear what they said. That is when it all became clear. Her mother knew. She knew about the cheating. And her reaction? Don't leave the house. That was her sage advice. No concern for me, no concern for the kids, just protect her daughter at all costs. I feel like my whole world has shifted, like I've been living in someone else's fantasy and suddenly woke up in a nightmare. I haven't told anyone except my sister, who just shook her head and said, "You can do better." I've been sleeping in the spare room. I don't know what happens next. Divorce? Probably. I can't even look at her without feeling disgusted, not just because of what she did, but because of who she is, who she has been becoming for years now. I feel like I never really knew her. I'm documenting everything. Emails, call logs, police visit, everything. I have to protect my kids. I don't even know who she might bring around them anymore. I'll update if anything else happens. Right now, I just feel empty. Update 3. After 14 years. Hello all. So I was not quite 100% honest about all of this. Everything happened as it played out, and with the correct amount of time in between my posts, except for this one. But it all happened back in 2010. I am not sure how well that is going to be received here. People may claim it was all fake, but it was not. I tried to write everything with the same frame of mind I had back then when it happened. This included my stunning, in hindsight, naivete in my first and update post, and my anger and disbelief in my second update. I thought it would be interesting for people to follow along with something real that was happening and then instantly get transported 14 years into the future. So, here is my 14-year update. I never spoke to my mother-in-law ever again. I did reconcile with my wife at first, on the condition she cut out her mother, which she did. We argued a lot. I was also immature and brought it up a lot, asking repeatedly questions like, "Do you want to reconcile or not?" I would often bring it up to shut her down in arguments. I texted her affair partner. He actually apologized, the piece of shit. He actually died a couple years after this all happened. Not sure how. In April 2012, things were getting worse. My wife and I argued, she threatened divorce, I agreed, but after 2 weeks or so, we made up. We were both scared of being alone, I guess. My wife was chatting with my cousin from England over Facebook quite a bit, but all of a sudden, they stopped. In April 2013, we argued again. She threatened divorce again, and this time I agreed, and we just did not talk about it again. I started fixing the house up a bit, getting things fixed, painted, and so on. In August, she told our kids we were separating while I was at work. My girls were devastated. I was fucking pissed that she did that without me. In the middle of September, she moved out, with the kids. In December, I finally sold the house, split the money, and I bought my current house, a bit of a downgrade. I told her not to tell anyone she had money. She did. She invested $10,000 or so in her new partner's friend's business. That was lost. She took a 3-week holiday to Brazil, leaving the kids with me. She repeated this each year until 2019. The money is all gone now. My parents had a holiday in England, where my cousin took my mother aside and said he did not know whether to say or not, but he told her my wife had told him about her giving some guy a blowjob. That is why they stopped talking all of a sudden. My cousin went off on her for cheating. I never told my parents why we divorced, but had to tell Mom that I knew, and that was the reason. I think she told him because she wanted to force a divorce, but maybe got cold feet. My wife married a Brazilian guy. Nice guy. She had met him here, but he had to go back to Brazil to look after his elderly mother. She married him while visiting. I congratulated her and asked if I could hug her when she told me. I have always tried to be nice. That long-distance marriage did not work out. She is now married another guy, this time a Dutchman. She flew over and married him there, and he's back with her here. I said hello to him once. He's a bit of an asshole, probably from what she has said about me. I had my kids every weekend and school holidays. The 2 girls had to share their bedroom. My son had his own small room. As for me, 3 months after she left, I realized I'm actually a pretty good-looking guy and hit the dating world. Met a few women. Met a woman I was with for 2.5 years before things did not work out. Met a few more women for shorter times. In 2019, I met my now wife, and we have a 4-year-old son together. My ex stopped talking to me. She's the sort of person that takes offense if my life goes well. I warned her with her first husband that it looks like she is jealous and to stop it. She did not like hearing that at all. I do not want to compare my wife to my ex, but she's slim, attractive, hygienic, drives. You do not know how hard it is to be with someone who doesn't drive until you're with someone who does and works, so we actually had some spare money to do things together. Life is much better. I just want to say, reading the replies to my earlier posts, things were so incredibly obvious. So much of the advice was absolutely spot on. But I had to pretend to be how I was back then, with full faith in my wife and so on. I can't believe how naive I was. Wow, this really is a wall of text, even when I'm trying to be brief. If you like the story, subscribe to the Sneaky Pigeon channel to get more cool and interesting stories. And if you want to support us even more, like the video, write a comment, and turn on the bell to receive notifications about the latest videos. See you in